My name is Joe Straw. I'm from the tribe of Cloverdale Rancheria, Homo, and I joined the Air Force in 1962. And my mom and dad had to sign for me because I was underage, but I joined the Air Force, and I'll tell you, that's what saved my life, because my brothers and cousins all got into the drugs because when they were starting to come out really strong with the marijuana stuff, and they were looking for something more, and then I guess everything just escalated. But I just want to say to the native guys up there, you don't have to do that. There's another way, and it's a way of finding your inner peace and your center, and just get yourself centered and go from there. But you do not have to cross that line and go over to the other side. I was in the Air Force for 9 years active and 24 years in the reserve.
Wow.
For a total of 33 years together. And,
a salty fella, huh?
I enjoyed every minute of it. Some things I'm not too proud of we did, but most of it I'm very proud of. And worked from being a jet engine mechanic to being a flight examiner for Air Force. And such a great thing, they'd call me up and say, hey, this crew's down and we need to go someplace, pick them up, recertify them. So I can go out and recertify a crew, and we'd all come back home. But it was just amazing what the military did for me. And I have one other brother, Larry, that he went to Vietnam, but he never left Vietnam. And he got malaria or something. They started giving him some to help it out, and he got hooked. When he came home, he was hooked on heroin. And then two more brothers that same thing, hooked on drugs. One was killed in prison, one was killed in jail, one died from overdoses in the hospital, and I had one sister that died from drugs. And it's hard because every time something happens, it takes a piece of your heart out of you. And so what I'm doing right now, after I was in the Air Force for the time I got out, and I worked for Maryland Naval Shipyard doing submarine research for Westinghouse. And then I went from there to United Airlines. I only worked for United Airlines about 5-6 years, and then from there I went to California State Prison System at High Desert State Prison, and I was a maintenance mechanic up there for 6 years, and then I left, and I wanted to teach. More than anything, I wanted to teach the people that there is something else. Since then, I've become a pastor, got ordained, and I'm loving it. I can go anywhere I want in the prison system. I have a card that'll let me go anywhere I want, and talk to people. I talk to the Native Americans at the conservation camp in Susanville, and it's just so nice to be able to go there and let them see that there is a different way. And if you show yourself and present yourself as someone who's succeuded, that gives them a goal to shoot for. And I really believe with that. I remember we used to go to gatherings, and everybody would be fine till they get a couple of beers or a gallon of wine in them, and next thing you know, I remember something happened 20 years ago, and now there's a fight. I know one of my uncles lost an eye because of a fight, and the other one lost an arm, and it's just crazy. But that's why I don't drink, because I will never do that again.
Well, we're thankful, Joe, that you're still here.
Yes, so am I.
With us, with our veterans, and recently we've had an opportunity to do some things for our veterans in Northern California, and I've had a chance to call upon you, and I just want to tell you, man to man, that your brotherhood, your friendship, your brother to me, means a lot, because Usually when you mention something about Native Americans, you tell people about food. Everybody shows up.
Yep, everybody shows up.
I've mentioned a lot of things about things that we've had to do for our people and our veterans, especially our Native American veterans. And Joe is always right there. He's always been like a right arm person to me, and that's very special. We recently had a parade, and one of the things that we've been able to work with is our ceremonial veterans redwood dugout. And I noticed your nephew takes a lot of pride in being with his grandpa.
Yeah.
And being with our veterans. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Joe?
About my nephew or about
your nephew and
my grandson. He was my grandson.
Your grandson.
And
you're not that old, right? No.
I'll be 72 next month. Next month. So, he's been up there staying with us for quite a while, and we've been talking to him and trying to get him straightened out, find out what he wants to do. He has a little trouble sometimes, but he's getting on the right path. He's back in Vacaville now with his grandmother, and I hope that he continues on at Solano College and does something positive with his life. I always tell them there's nothing you cannot do, and just set your mind for it, and gold will be there. So the treasure is always somewhere hidden. You just got to go find it.
Yeah.
Work for it. A lot of hard work, but it's worth it when you get to it.
Hard work and sweat equity pays off.
Yes, it does.
Can you tell us a little bit something about your involvement with the veterans and the dugout show?
Only about the dugout I know is that it's been was hard to work on, and the only thing I really got to do with it is got to sit in it. So it's an honor to be there.
It's an honor to be there, and it's an honor to have our veterans inside it.
Yes, it was. It was a very good day. I was proud to be part of that whole thing. As far as the Air Force, you wanted me to talk about that? Or?
Yeah, a little bit about the Air Force, and then if you have any feelings, talk about maybe what our veterans are not getting, and maybe how we can look to the future for our younger men that they want to go into the Air Force or the Marines or the Navy, the Coast Guard. And I'll mention the doggies, the Army.
Yeah. Well, if you get out, and you go in the military, doesn't matter which branch it is, you'll get what they call a Montgomery GI Bill, and you can go to school on that. Take advantage of it. Oh my God, it's so good to be able to go there and get that. Some people say, oh well, you're just getting free money. It's not free money. You worked for that. Even if it was you were in peacetime. I was in peacetime. When I joined the Air Force, the Cuban crisis was going on, and I was in every conflict from the Cuban crisis to the Pueblo to Vietnam to went over when Hussein took Afghanistan, Iraq, and been to Somalia. Didn't like that place at all. But as far as the benefits when you get out, that's what you got to look forward to. And you just take advantage of them. Take advantage of the housing. You can buy a house. You can do whatever you want. Just take advantage of the program. This is what we told the prisoners up there in Susanville. Take advantage of the programs here. Don't let this be dead time. Because if it is dead time, then when you get out, that prison door is still going to be open for you to come back. Yeah. What you need to do when you close that door, prison stays there and you move on. And that's the only way you can come back. And I've been teaching a prison out there. I really do love it. Back to the Air Force. My first assignment was in Strangolem, Germany, and I was so glad to go over there because I got to see when my dad was in the Army and my uncles were over there. And I came back to California because my father had passed away and I got stationed at Hamilton under a compassionate transfer. And I stayed there till 67. Then I went back over to the Philippines and Japan, and I went to Vietnam. I got to do 2 short tours over there, and that was quite amazing. Some stuff, if I told you, you would never believe it anyway, but it was great to see what happens over there, and see how the people are, and what they did, and what we did, and it was just amazing to see that going on over there. During the Gulf War, they had the last night we were there, it's when they set the oil fields on fire. We were just taking off out of one of the bases right there at the border, and they had metal runway for us, like that, USB metal, and we took off out of there. And as soon as we got above the horizon, you could see all the oil. Such a shame.
All the resources.
Yep, everything's gone.
Joe, I recently been handing out these little orange bands, and it's something that we're going to start doing for our Native American veterans, because a lot of them returned from Vietnam and went back to the reservation. We were lucky because our tribes welcomed us back. The United States of America did not welcome Vietnam veterans back. We certainly didn't have that welcome in this community here. Our tribes welcomed us back. That I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
Our Agent Orange bands, we're trying to get a little exposure. Do you have any feelings?
Well, my feelings about Agent Orange, and I was at Da Nang Air Base in Vietnam. I think it was the 121s would take off from far in, and they would take off from Saigon with that helping hand, and they would fly over us, and all this liquid would come out, and it was turning our airplanes white, and we'd get soaked in this stuff because it was just leaking all over the place. And they would come back, and then they'd go into Saigon or wherever they were going, Ben Hoa Air Base, I believe it was. And a couple of years ago, I guess, well, in '97, I started going to the VA in Martinez, and that was a pretty good place. They had a nice little clinic there, and I went over to Vallejo, and that was all right. And then I went down and saw a VA rep down here, and he got me a 40% disability, and I went to Reno for Susanville, and I applied for more because I ended up with type 2 diabetes and neuropathy in the feet, and I got some other problems that I'm going to find out what they are. But it's been a long road, and I've been waiting now for over a year to have an operation on my neck that's making my right side go numb, and still can't get in. And there's people like that all over the place. I know they say they improved the system, but I don't really see an improvement.
Well, as usual, like in Vietnam, for about 5.5 months, we had the monsoons settling in. We're starting to get wet, so we're going to try to wrap this up real quick, like Joe.
Right.
I want to thank you for your time and service.
Anytime, buddy.
I want to thank you for being a brother.
Yes.
And we appreciate that very much.
Yes, thank you, Terry. Billy hug.
I sucked mine in.